You ever have that feeling where your heart is absolutely pounding, your hands start to shake, and only then does your mind kind of scramble to figure out why? It's a really confusing and honestly a pretty scary experience. So today, we're going to dive into the science of why your body's alarm system can go off before you're even consciously aware of what's happening. So let's just get right to it. Why does this happen? If you've ever dealt with complex trauma, this whole body first, mind second thing is probably all too familiar. And I really want you to hear this. You are absolutely not alone, and it does not mean you're broken. As we're about to see, there's a really powerful biological reason for it. Yeah, I'm guessing some of these are ringing a bell, right? That sudden awful drop in your stomach, the tension that just clamps down on your shoulders, that shallow breath you just can't seem to get control of. These aren't just in your head. They are real physical sensations that can flood your entire system before you can even put a name to what's going on. And here is probably the most important thing to get right from the start. This is not a flaw. It is not a sign of weakness. It's actually your nervous system doing exactly what it evolved over millions of years to do, which is to keep you safe from harm. Think of it like this ancient, incredibly fast alarm system. So, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to look under the hood a little bit. Let's get into the science of how your nervous system is literally built for survival. Okay, so the key that unlocks this whole thing is a concept called neuroception. It's a great word, right? It's basically your body's automatic subconscious threat detector. It's like a radar system that's always on, constantly scanning your surroundings, a tone of voice, a certain smell, the look on someone's face for any sign of danger. And it does all of this long before your thinking brain even gets the memo. Now, check this out, because this is where it gets really mind-blown. Look at this information flow. A staggering 80% of the signals from your nerves travel from your body up to your brain. Only about 20% go the other way. This isn't some balanced two-way street. It's an information superhighway from your body, constantly feeding reports back to headquarters. And what does that 80-20 split really mean for you? It means your conscious mind, the part that thinks and analyzes, is often just playing catch-up. It gets these really powerful distress signals from the body, and then it scrambles to create a story, a narrative to make sense of the physical feelings it's already experiencing. So if this is a natural survival system, why does it become so sensitive? So much for some people? Well, this is where complex trauma comes into the picture. It doesn't just leave you with bad memories, it can actually rewire this whole system, leaving it kind of stuck on high alert. This quote right here just nails it. Trauma isn't just something that happened in the past. For your body, that threat can feel like it's happening right now, in this very moment, even when your logical brain knows you're perfectly safe. And that disconnect between what your mind knows and what your body feels is just exhausting. Here's a really powerful way to picture this. When you're in a threatening situation, your body revs up with all this energy to either fight or run away. But what if you can't? What if you freeze? All of that mobilized survival energy, it gets trapped. It's literally like flooring the gas and slamming on the brakes at the exact same time. The energy has nowhere to go. And that trapped energy has a direct effect. It shrinks what therapists call the window of tolerance. That's the zone where you feel pretty calm, capable, and in control. When a trigger pushes us above that window, we're in hyperarousal. That's anxiety, panic, feeling totally overwhelmed. And when we drop below it, we're in hypoarousal, feeling numb, disconnected, foggy. Trauma just makes that nice, balanced middle zone incredibly narrow and really easy to get knocked out of. Okay, so we've looked at the why, but the good news, the really good news, is that understanding this opens up a completely new way to think about healing. It's not about trying to strong-arm your body into calming down. It's about gently teaching it how to feel safe again. Which leads us to a really important question, one that a lot of people with complex trauma end up asking. If you've spent years in therapy talking about what happened, but you still have those gut-level reactions in your body, you might start to wonder, is talking about it enough? And this distinction right here makes all the difference. See, traditional talk therapy is what we call a top-down approach. It works with your thinking brain, the part that understands logic and stories. But the trauma itself, that raw survival instinct, it's stored way down in the primitive bottom parts of the brain that don't speak English. To truly heal, we need to bring in bottom-up approaches, methods that work directly with the body's language of sensation to communicate safety right to the nervous system. And this is the most hopeful part of this entire conversation. Your nervous system learned its threat response through experience, right? Well, that means it can learn new patterns of safety through new experiences. We can literally give the body new evidence, new felt senses that teach it on a deep cellular level that the danger is over and it's okay to stand down. So you might be thinking, okay, this all makes sense, but what can I actually do? Well, let's get into a practical toolkit, some simple, real things you can start doing to reconnect with your body and help regulate that nervous system. All right, here are 3 really powerful ways to start this week. First up, a body scan. All you do is take 5 minutes and just gently notice sensations. There's no judgment, you're not trying to fix anything, you're just building that muscle of awareness. Second, grounding. This is like your emergency brake when you feel triggered. Just name 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you can touch. It pulls your brain right back into the present moment. And third, breath regulation. Making your exhale longer than your inhale, this is like a biological cheat code that tells your body's relaxation system to turn on. These aren't just mental tricks, they are direct messages of safety to your nervous system. And that brings us to a final thought to leave you with. Instead of seeing these physical reactions as a problem that needs to be silenced, what if we started to see them as a form of communication? A message from a part of you that has been working so hard to keep you safe. What is your body's wisdom trying to tell you? Maybe listening to it is the very first step toward coming home to yourself.